Perceptions and Culture by Natalie B. Crowley from Colorado Christian University. This is the Japanese flag. It is a white flag with a crimson-red circle right in the middle. This is the American flag. Red, white, and blue with 50 white stars in the upper left-hand corner of the flag to represent all 50 states. Web-based social cognition is how the growing use of technology has led to increasing research exploring the manner in which various social psychological phenomena are enacted in the cyber world. Sabates, 2012. How culture relates to our perception of others. Culture refers to the shared values, beliefs, and norms among a group of people who most often speak the same language and live in proximity. Cognition is defined as the process and product of human perception, learning, memory, and reasoning. Culture affects many aspects of cognition and cognitive tendencies, also guides the propagation of culture. Definitions from the Encyclopedia of Applied Psychology. How culture relates to our perception of ourselves. Culture relates to our perception of ourselves in a way that allows us to have a higher self-esteem. It allows us to be more secure in that we are more at ease with those who are more like us. We tend to be more secure in familiar settings. How perceptions vary across cultures. Perceptions vary across culture by having different norms and allowing different people to come together in the same culture. Compare key differences between American culture and Japanese culture. One key difference between American culture and Japanese culture is attitude toward religion, not Christian, and it's not important to the Japanese. Japanese tend to be more formal. Japanese people are nationalistic, but overall not very political. Though America is made up of people from different countries, Japan is overwhelmingly Japanese. Japanese people bow. Japanese people often live with their parents until they get married, and there is no tipping in Japan. The contrast between American culture and Japanese culture. Space in Japan is more precious. Americans tend to be more direct and blunt, whereas Japanese people are more subtle. Gender roles are strict. In Japan, social hierarchy is very important. Japan is a collectivist culture, whereas the US is more of an individualistic. Interesting facts about Japanese culture. Raw horse meat is a popular food in Japan. Many couples in Japan celebrate Christmas like Valentine's Day. It is definitely more of a lover's holiday in Japan. More than 70% of Japan consists of mountains, including more than 200 volcanoes. There are 4 different writing systems in Japan: Romaji, Katakana, Hiragana, and Kanji. Coffee is very popular in Japan imports approximately 85% of Jamaica's annual coffee production. Japan's literacy rate is almost 100%. Sumo is Japan's national sport, although baseball is also very popular. Religion does not play a big role in the lives of most Japanese, and many do not understand the difference between Shintoism and Buddhism. However, there are those, and there are many of the Japanese who understand the difference. How has research changed my perception or previous impression of Japanese culture? My impression has changed because the interesting fact that I learned was that Japanese people aren't religious people. It makes me feel concerned about their salvation. Similarities between America and Japan. Generally, American culture and Japanese culture have us to want the same things, although it's how we do things that are different. Jones, no date. Education system. Generally the same, but Japanese children have much more responsibility through cleaning times, helping with school lunch, being student leaders, participating in assemblies. Kids in Japan also spend much more time at school. Middle and high school students also take entrance exams for their middle and high schools, applying and possibly being even rejected from entering. Fashion. Kids wear the same things, such as graphic shirts and easy-to-move sportswear, like tracksuits. And it isn't until middle school or high school age that they start to differ. All Japanese middle and high schools have uniforms, and students wear them fairly often after school and sometimes on the weekends because of the club activities. Jones, no date. Again, my name is Natalie Crowley. Thank you for allowing me to present these two countries, Japan and America. Thank you. Goodbye.